So we should be good, right, Christina?
Yeah, we should be good.
All right, great. So should we kick things off?
Good.
How many attendees do we have so far? All right, so good morning all. I'm gonna get going. My name is Cintra Hoffman. I'm the president and CEO for Westmark, and I thank you all for joining us this morning. This has been a real important topic that it's on everyone's mind. You know, how do we reopen? When do we reopen? And we've had several webinars in the past couple of weeks, but I have to say this has been the highest attendance, the most visibility that we've received, and we've got a lot of information that we're going to be bringing to you this morning. So we'll hear from Christina O, who is the CEO for Abrazo West Campus. She'll be talking to us about the latest and greatest in the medical world and all that we want to know about COVID and more. Steve Chookery is the CEO for the Arizona Restaurant Association. He'll give us some insight as to how his members are preparing for reopening. And I'm sure all of you are like me and you can't wait to order an overpriced drink someday soon. So, and then we'll also have a follow-up with our second part of this will be a roundtable discussion with some of our local businesses. We'll have a business panel and hear about how they're preparing to reopen. Joanne Osborne with Osborne Jewelers, and Diego Espinoza with Fuego Bar and Grill, Tom Hatton with Mountainside Fitness, and Aaron Rogers with Litchfield Park CrossFit. So great lineup this morning, lots of information to bring to you, so we'll be moving through it pretty quickly. And just some housekeeping tips before we start. This morning we have the latest number that we saw was about 119 that had registered, and we're really excited about that number that registered to listen to what's going on. You're all muted, but you have plenty of opportunity to engage with us this morning. We'll be asking a couple of poll questions, and you have opportunities to make your comments, ask your questions, and so on in the chat box. After each speaker goes, we will have, or after each section, we'll have an opportunity for Q&A. So get ready for your questions and get ready to engage this morning. So with that, I will turn it over to Christina O with Abrazo West Campus. Christina,
thank you, Cintra. I
was going to say, tell us a little bit about what's
Go ahead.
Tell us what's going on about at Abrazo. You know, what's going on? Is the hospitals packed? Are you ready to, are you prepared to open? And what does this really mean? What does testing really mean? Give it to us, Christina.
Sure, I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to Westmark and the community of attendees today. And before I give you any State of the Union or other update, I wanted to tell you about one of the most important things that we're learning through coronavirus. And that is the fact that despite the fact that there's a COVID cloud hanging over the world right now, hospitals and healthcare systems are really learning what it means to be a part of a community. And I just want to say on behalf of the hospital, on behalf of our colleagues and our physicians, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We have been surrounded and supported with gifts, with more food than our bellies can handle, with well wishes, with prayers and other support. And we felt it, and it really means a lot. So I wanted to, before I say anything else, just thank you as a community for supporting us. I'll give a little state of the union, and then also how our efforts and our preparedness and what we've learned over the past few months, I think could apply to outside healthcare business owners that are seeking to open. The first thing is that it's a very calm scene here. I was able to give an interview a few weeks ago with the West Valley View, and I was able to share with Tom Scanlon that despite all the things that we're seeing throughout the world and in other areas where there's hotspots, Arizona, by and large, has been really fortunate to learn from our sisters in New York City and some of those other communities that have really been hard hit. So we've had the benefit of being a little bit more prepared, but we've also had the benefit of putting social isolation parameters into place a little sooner, and so we've seen a flattening of the curve. So at this point, the situation is very calm here. I was able to read an article this morning about how San Francisco is being heralded as the city that really flattened the curve. and they were talking to a head of a hospital in San Francisco, and he said the hospital is eerily calm, and I would echo that. Here at Abrazo West, because we haven't been open for business for elective surgeries, and the volume has really been down. We are seeing coronavirus patients, but it's not the same scene that you're seeing on social media or in some of the news reports. And so we're really blessed and grateful for that. As I was preparing to talk to all of you today, I was thinking about the things that we've learned over the past couple of months. And I think it can be summed up really with 4 philosophies. And I think each of these philosophies have an application outside of the healthcare industry as you're considering reopening your business. The very first thing that we learned early on was to be unapologetic about protecting your stakeholders. And for us here at the hospital, what that meant was that we had to be unapologetic about doing things that might have seemed extreme at the time in order to make sure that our staff and our physicians were protected. So this first and foremost had to do with making sure that we prioritized investing in enough personal protective equipment. We've had a lot of physicians and employees step forward on social media and thank us for the efforts that we've made to invest in the equipment and have enough, but then also walk that tightrope between making sure that we know that there's not an unlimited supply of PPE in the world. So we've made that investment, and we've been unapologetic about doing that. We're also fortunate to tap into a nationwide network through our parent company, Tenet. So we have plenty of days of PPE on hand in-house, but we're also able to continually receive shipments from them. The other protective measures that we've taken that we've been unapologetic about, we screen every single person that walks into the building for respiratory symptoms. We take their temperature, we give them a mask, we make them use hand sanitizer. And at first that took some time to get used to. And so as you're thinking of opening your business, I would warn you, if you do put measures in place to protect people, it might take some time to get used to it. But the why behind it is the most important, and that's that you care about your customers and your employees. We've also not allowed any visitors, with the exception of people that are at the end of life or people that are families that are at the beginning of life. And we've also cohorted our patients. So patients that are positive for coronavirus or have symptoms that we think have it and we're waiting for test results, we've put those patients in a designated unit. And that's been important because there's a limited number of staff members that interact with those patients. And so those staff members are not then going into those rooms and going in other areas of the hospital. We are proud of the efforts that we've made with protection, but we've also been very vigilant. We haven't had a single employee that's tested positive because of their exposure at work, but that's something that we realize that's because of those efforts, and we have to continue to be vigilant. The second thing that I would say about our preparedness efforts that might apply to you as you're thinking about reopening your business is to be very data-driven. So I had a chance to participate in a webinar last week with Sintra, and I confess that I'm a little bit of a data nerd. And so there's a website that I would direct each of you to take a look at now. It's called covid19.healthdata.org. And I'll pause and give you a chance to look that up, covid19.healthdata.org. And on that site, what you can find is every country in the world, but then every state in the United States, and the disease prevalence and anticipated surge for each of our states in the union. We've been fortunate in Arizona that we've passed the worst of it. So if you go onto that website, you'll see the anticipated need for resources and the anticipated available resources based on the worst case scenarios. We in Arizona, based on that website, reached our peak on April 22nd. And then the website has recently also put together some additional data showing what will happen once we lift some of our mitigating tactics like social distancing. That's been really important for us, mainly because it's helped us to plan, but it's also important because it helps us to put into context what's really happening at a national level and then at a local level. Nationally, there's been close to 5.5 or 6 million tests ordered for coronavirus, and the negative testing rate is somewhere between 70 and 75%. Here at a local level, we've been really fortunate in the state of Arizona, where only around 9% of people that are tested for the virus test positive. And so it's important to put that type of data in perspective. I think as we lift social distancing parameters, if you have a website or your business or affiliation has a website that they rely on for data, as a business owner, I think it's really important to tap into what that data is saying and to be able to adjust your practices based on that. The third is to be very transparent. I'll be very honest with you. The very first coronavirus patient that we had that was positive, that was diagnosed in the hospital, we were not super public with our medical staff and our employee base at large, mainly because it was still definitely a news story, and I thought it would take away from the care of the patient if we were public about it, and we ended up with media attention. As the coronavirus started becoming more common in the area, we changed our stance, and we said we need to be transparent with everyone that interacts with our organization. So we send a nightly email to our employees and to our physicians, and it tells exactly how many positive patients we have in-house, exactly how many patients we've tested, what our status is on our personal protective equipment, other relevant updates. We've been working together in the hospital daily. We haven't been at home like a lot of people that are isolating. So I would say that this would apply to your business as you reopen and open back up. I think people will give you grace for being very transparent about your thought processes. One of the things that we learned is that we are all first-timers at coronavirus. There's not a hospital in the world or a community in the world that's dealt with this before. And so I found that in general, your stakeholders will be very gracious with you if you walk them through your thought process and admit maybe when you've made mistakes. I would also say the last piece is to be prepared to operate in the new normal. And so I realize I just gave a lot of information, but the most critical questions that we're dealing with today is now that Governor Ducey issued Executive Order 2020-32, which allows for us to attest that we're prepared to reopen for appropriate elective surgeries. How are we going to do that? So what that means for Abrazo is that we're testing every single person that is scheduled for an elective procedure. It means that we're testing them within 3 days of the scheduled procedure. And so they're going to come into the hospital. They're going to do a quick 30-minute outpatient test. It's just a swab at the back of the throat. And if they're negative, they don't have the virus, then we contact them and the procedure goes off as planned. If they do test positive, we contact them, we talk to them about what to do to take care of themselves or when to present to the hospital. But most importantly, we reschedule that case until they can test negative. On the whole, what testing means for us is that we're very vigilant, just like we are with PPE, that there's not an unlimited supply of testing kits or testing swabs. So we're testing people that are presenting because they have a procedure coming up, or we're testing people that are symptomatic and need to be able to get a result so that they can receive care. The most important thing to know is that the hospital is a safe place to receive care. I mentioned that we haven't had a single employee contract the disease from working here in the hospital and being exposed to patients that have it. We have separate and distinct processes for people that come in with symptoms and routing them, not just in a cohorted unit, but routing them to the emergency department. I mentioned that we're screening everyone. And another measure now that we're opening up for elective care is to make sure that we're not doing elective surgeries on people that are positive for the disease. So that's what's happening at Abrazo West. Thank you for allowing me to riff on what we've dealt with and how I would apply it in the setting outside of healthcare. And again, thank you so much for all of your support.
Thank you, Christina. I have to say kudos to you. I have a friend who is a nurse at Abrazo West campus, and she said she goes to work and she feels extremely safe, and she knows that all the protections are in place. So that's great news. So before we get to the questions for Christina, I'm gonna take her advice and ask you for some grace here. I was supposed to kick this off with a poll question. And our first poll question is, are you in favor of reopening on May 1st? And Christina will put that out to you. And once you respond, we'll be able to instantly see the results. All right, do we have some results? Okay, so 44% are in favor of reopening, 18% says not yet, and 38% says I still have some concerns. So hopefully by the end of this, we can clarify some of concerns and get some good information out here. Christina, do we have any questions for Christina? Oh.
Just someone wanted to have her repeat the website.
Yes, it is covid19.healthdata.org. covid19.healthdata.org.
Anything else?
That's it.
Great. Well, Christina, thank you so much. You speak to my heart when you say this is data driven. We really need to look at what's happening through the numbers. And, again, most importantly is what's happening in Arizona and within our area, as opposed to what's happening in the other hot spots. We're kind of a different animal here. So appreciate your time this morning and helping us take care of the community. So next up, we have Steve Chookery, who is the president and CEO of the Arizona Association. And Steve, I am dying to buy an overpriced martini. Tell me when I can do that. So
how are you? And my apologies for being late. I'm not Jana, by the way, and that makes two of us. I'll tell you a quick story. So about 2 years ago, my little 8-year-old at the time said, "Hey, Mom, where's my iPad?" And she said, "It's over next to the cooktop." And he said, "What's a cooktop?" So that shows you that we are geared for the restaurant industry in the Chookery household, and we are very excited about having restaurants open up.
You practice what you preach. I hear you.
Exactly. But one quick thing, Centra, that caught me that Christina had said, think about that for 1 second. How many of their healthcare professionals have been treating people in need, yet not one of them got infected? I think that is a good indication of good management by them, and also a very forward thinking as to how we all, if we're responsible, can come out of this after May 1 in a very good way.
I totally agree. Steve, I've got a few questions for you. So the Arizona Restaurant Association has a very diverse membership. You represent everyone from vendors, fast food, fast cash, to fine dining. So what are you hearing from your membership? Tell us about some of their concerns, and also how do they differ in these different types of businesses that you're working with?
Well, well, first of all, thank you for having me on this. I apologize. I had to move some things this morning in order to be here, and I thought I did it right, but I didn't, and ran a little late. But I will tell you that I've had the good fortune of working in this industry and representing the industry for 18 years as its CEO. And, restaurateurs are some of the most entrepreneurial, innovative thinkers I've ever come to know. And what people don't realize, I'm a native, right? And when I grew up here, I joke that we had two kinds of food. We had Mexican food, and then we had a different kind of Mexican food, right? There was no culinary diversity in Arizona like we see today. And so coming out of this, coming into 2020, leaving 2019, restaurant sales in Arizona were $13.4 billion last year, with a B. Nationally, we sold $800 billion worth of food across the United States. If you just think about that, we're almost $1 trillion industry. In fact, this year, pre-COVID, we were estimated to hit just under $1 trillion in restaurant sales. So it's really amazing when you stop to think about it. Right now, because of the time of year, this is our peak season, our restaurants across the state of Arizona are losing between $25 and $30 million per day. Our daily payroll for the restaurant industry, employing 230,000 people, is roughly 13 or 14 million per day. We're down to about 2 or 3 million per day. So this has been devastating. This has eviscerated our restaurant economy. And you heard what Christina was saying earlier, but COVID-19 treats friends and enemies the same way. No one is immune from this in the business sector, and we have certainly felt that in the restaurant industry.
Wow, those numbers are staggering. So, you're hearing from them. What advice are you providing to them now? What kinds of information and guidance are they looking for, and you as the Restaurant Association is able to provide at this time?
Well, Central, we were very fortunate that early on when this happened, within 48 hours, hopefully those of you who are participating in this have heard of Arizona Restaurant Week. We started that roughly 11 years ago. And so we took that energy from Arizona Restaurant Week and we basically channeled it into, within, like I said, 48 hours time, ArizonaTakeoutWeeks.com. Hopefully you've seen the commercials. And so we stood up very quickly a website that our restaurateurs, free of charge, whether they're a member of ours or not, where they could post their to-go menu. And today we have close to 800 menus representing almost 1,500 locations across the state of Arizona on our ArizonaTakeoutWeeks.com site. And that has been an amazing help to our restaurateurs. It's a bridge forward. It's not everything. We're still losing quite a bit of money, as I indicated, but it's been very, very resourceful and very helpful. And then 2 weeks ago, we stood up Arizona Restaurant Strong, which is a relief fund, and we've raised just under $400,000. And we are getting that out in $500 grants to our displaced workers. And I'll tell you, you read some of these stories, you hear, you think to yourself, $500 isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot, but in reality, it does a lot for these families who are hurting. So we're hopeful that we're going to get through this sooner rather than later, but those are just some of the things we've instituted here at the Arizona Restaurant Association.
So what do you think reopening looks like? What's that going to change? I know I was talking to someone at the Wigwam Resort a couple of weeks ago, and he told me he was following what's happening in China and how they're reopening. I usually do a lot of takeout just to keep supporting my local restaurants and hope to make sure that they make it through all of this. But I'm curious, what do you think it'll look like when it reopens? Are we all going to be wearing masks? Are we going to be, divided? How's that all going to work?
Yeah, I think it's going to be different with probably every experience, right? My wife texted me first thing this morning. Oh, guess what, honey? We've got to wear a mask now going to Costco. I don't know if you guys have seen that release this morning. And there's two fundamental truths in the restaurant industry. One, we are some of the safest place when it comes to food preparation because we have to be. Getting sick in a restaurant is not good for business. We are held to a higher standard when it comes to hygiene, and that's why we are managed by environmental services and various health departments across Arizona's 15 counties. In addition to that, and secondly, I would say that we are the hospitality industry. I was with Dick Marriott late last year, and he said, never forget, we are the industry of happy. And that's what we are in the hospitality industry. And so what we need to do, and what we're focused on now, and we're working with Governor Ducey's office hand in glove, we are talking about what does that look like? What does the new restaurant look like? And the answer really is somewhat multifaceted in that I believe you will see in the back of the house, meaning our kitchen workers will be wearing masks. They already have to wear gloves. You'll see bartenders wearing masks. You'll see probably advancements in technology. So when we take your payment, we might have a device that comes to your table. This won't be right away, where you just simply tap your card and that's how you pay and tip and everything else. So it's as touchless as possible. I think that's going to be here very, very soon. Do I believe, as some have asked, that we are going to be taking your temperature before coming on our doors? No, I don't believe that. Now, will we be taking the temperature of our employees? Possibly so. And so the unique thing to remember about your favorite restaurant, which, by the way, a poll was released 2 weeks ago saying the thing missed most by Americans is going to a restaurant. I would have assumed it was sporting events. I really would have. I was really surprised by that, and maybe naive in the sense, but that's what people miss most. And secondly, we are the most trusted industry in America. It was technology for years and years and years, and 2 years ago, restaurants became the most trusted industry in America. So with that opportunity comes responsibility. And the bottom line will be that the safety of our patrons, our customers, is going to be job one. And so you'll see advanced sanitation practices with menus, wiping down menus after every use, wiping down door handles of anything, whether it's the bathroom door handle or the front door. Restaurants will look different, but we're still going to be and provide the great hospitality we're known for doing.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I agree with you. I do think that it is a very trusted industry, and that came across loud and clear. Because one of the questions I've asked myself too is, there's a lot of concern out there, yet takeout, people are still doing a lot of takeout. So on one hand, we're social distancing, but on the other, we're trusting others who are preparing food for us. So I completely agree with that. So, well, thank you so much. I think we do have a question for Steve. Christine, I'm having a difficult time reading that. Can you read that for me? Oh,
Sure.
Go ahead, Christina.
Okay, so we have 3, possibly 4 right now. So the first one is, how are the restaurants going to handle the waiting area and lobby for tables? Will reservations be required for all facilities?
Well, I can answer that in 2 ways. First and foremost, our lobbies will not be as you usually would expect as far as couches and the like, or there will only be 1 or 2 people sitting on a couch if they're a couple together. One thing we were talking about possibly deploying is, that when you go to some restaurants, they'll ask for your phone number and they'll just text you. And they'll text you and let you know that your table's ready. I think you'll see that, maybe wait in your car instead of waiting in the lobby. That's something that we will probably see. And if they do have a large patio and they can distance properly, we'll see that happen as well. In addition to that, I think bars are going to probably open a little slower than the dining rooms, because in a bar, right, you're sitting right next to somebody. So you might see some bar stools removed to have greater separation between folks. As it relates to reservations, yes, I think you will probably see some restaurants go more reservation heavy, so they don't have those waits. But one thing I want to make sure that everyone that's on this webinar understands is we can't fall into this false sense of security by arbitrarily selecting a percentage of how full a dining room should be. So some are saying, oh, you should only be 50% full. I'm sure all of us have heard that. Not necessarily so, because if a restaurant is spread out in a way they could have 60%, then that's what they should do. If they have only can accommodate 40%, that's what they should do. So when you see a booth construct in a restaurant, I think booths will be fine, but you will see tables disappearing and maybe have that 6 foot or 6 feet of separation between tables, which will impact the capacity. You will not see 100% capacity in restaurants coming out of it. Sure.
That makes sense.
All right, and the next question was, how can we donate to Arizona grants programs?
If they go to, I love that question. If they go to ArizonaRestaurantStrong.org, they can do it all there. And thank you.
Perfect. Next question is, our company offers an antimicrobial laminate that may be placed on counters, computer screens, etc. How do you suggest is the best way to share this with restaurants that may be interested? You may have seen some of the signs that our company, Arizona Pro, was providing at no cost to local restaurants to show that they are open for pickup delivery. Community is so important to us, and we would like to help when we can.
You know what? They can email that to me directly, and I'm happy to talk with them. It's steve@azrestaurant.org.
Okay. Next one was, are there any concerns about food supply chain?
There are concerns in that when we turn this on, people think that you can just go and flip a switch and restaurants can execute. That's not that easy. It would be the equivalent of jumping on an aircraft carrier and just pushing start. There is no such thing. And so, yes, I think you heard just a few days ago, Tyson Foods is saying that they're going to have a chicken shortage. There's going to be a problem there. Yes, in the beginning, I think that there will be some supply chain, not that it's in any way jeopardized from a safety perspective, but I believe there will be a shortfall coming out of the gates, but nothing that would hamstring a restaurant too badly. They might have to modify their menu a bit. And then I think we will quickly catch up and it will be things business as usual pre this crisis.
Okay, one last question. What can West Valley restaurants specifically do to stay in business? The Great Recession hit the West Valley restaurant scene particularly hard with devastating long-term effects, and we don't want to see that happen again.
Good. And Joanne and Aaron have been very, very great at waiting. Sorry for these long answers to the two of you. I want to hear from you as well. But I will say this, that the restaurant weeks and the takeout weeks that I mentioned earlier, we are actually going to modernize a bit and modify our Arizona Restaurant Week. We're pushing it back. It's typically in May. We're going to push that to June, and we're going to include takeout. So it's going to be a merged Arizona Restaurant and Takeout Week, where you can actually have a 3-course meal brought home. And so we are going to be marketing aggressively for restaurants, and we actually are going to partner with the Arizona Office of Tourism over the summer months. I believe you'll have more Arizonans staying in town this summer. And so we're going to promote staycations. We're going to promote some of these things. And believe it or not, hotels, they're not that I represent the hotel industry, but it's our sister industry, and their phones are ringing off the hook. So I think that's a good sign for all of us. And I think these staycations, I hope, to the West Side restaurants that might be near some kind of a resort or whatnot will help them as well.
Great. Well, Steve, thank you so much. That's one of my favorite things. I eat, I work out, and I wear jewelry. So
there we go. I love it.
So I appreciate your time this morning, and I appreciate you juggling some county business for us. That was pretty huge. So
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, this conversation originated, this is a lot of what we've been doing these days is just in time planning, right? And so this conversation started with Representative Joanne Osborne and myself last Friday saying, we're going to open, right? Are we prepared? How are we prepared? And what are our businesses doing? So we quickly put together this great panel, and I'm excited because, as I mentioned, I eat, I work out, and I wear jewelry. So Joanne Osborne is with Osborne Jewelers. Next up, we have Diego Espinoza, who owns Fuego Bar and Grill in Tullison, Tom Hatton with Mountainside Fitness, and Aaron Rogers with Litchfield Park CrossFit. Two different types of workout facilities and clearly two different types of needs. So I've got some questions for our roundtable, and let me just make sure. I don't think we have a poll question at this time. We don't. So in order, please just describe a little bit about your business. Who's your customer base, and how have you managed through this current situation?
Let me start.
Yes, you're number one.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sintra, and everyone tuning in to this great discussion. I wear many hats, and so I'm saying hello from the state capitol. At 11 o'clock, I'm actually going to the governor's office to talk about reopening Arizona. So I'm thrilled to be with you today. So as for jewelry, my husband and I this November will have been in business 30 years. And, we've been through recessions, we've been through downturns, we've been through all kinds of things as a business, as a mom and pop, but this was totally something new. And as of April 1st, we had to completely shut our doors. We do repair work, we do custom, we sell a lot of inventory, but besides the most importance of safety for our staff and for our customer, there's also just safety impacts that come with the jewelry store. And so as we go forward, I know you're gonna have questions on how this has affected us and what we're doing to go forward, and I'll be happy to share. But thrilled to be here, and want to be really open for Mother's Day.
I'm a mom. I want you to be open for Mother's Day. Representative Diego Espinoza, same question to you, is talk a little bit about your business.
Sintra, thank you, and thank you for organizing. Good morning to everyone, especially my fellow West Valley representative, Joanne Osborne, and my CrossFit people over here. I see them over there in the screen. Thank you all for joining us, and Mr. Chookery. I've been in business for 15 years, and this dates back, my restaurant that I own dates back 3 generations to my great grandfather. And so we, deliver the best Mexican food in the Valley, the real Mexican food, is going back to Mr. Chookery's reference. And it's, you know, based on three generations of recipes from my great grandparents on to mine. You know, we closed for 10 days initially, and then we had this great idea to rip off a screen in our window in our dining area and start a drive-through, which has slightly taken on a new shape of its own. And for us as a business owner, we have to adapt and overcome and continue to innovate and figure out new methods of selling our product. And so we've done that. And I got to share with you that having to go mixed drinks, Sintra, has been something that's been new to our business, and trying to adapt to that every day. And hopefully our volumes can continue to pick up along with our food service as well. But, you know, we look forward to have an opening based on the data that we are receiving. I'm so glad that Christina had shared the information regarding Abrazo, because I think that's just a true testament to what the steps have been taken to ensure the safety and wellness of our constituents here in the West Valley.
Great, thank you. And Tom Hatton, Mountainside Fitness, you're getting ready to open up a new location in Avondale. What is going on?
Well, fortunately, some construction services are still moving forward, and although we've delayed it about 60 days just to as we get our operational heads on straight, as we were mandated to close basically March 19th. You know, that project is still going to move forward. We're really excited about that project there. We'll just be probably about 60 days behind schedule, and that'll be our 19th location here in the Valley, and we will be open almost, well, we're going into our 30th year as well.
Great. CrossFit. So Aaron and Stephanie Rogers, what's happening in your business? Tell us a little bit about it, and how are you managing?
We've actually been open now about 5 years, and we are a very small business here in Old Listville Park. The CrossFit community is a little bit different than you know, your typical gym. They are really about community, and that has been amazing for us. When we were mandated to close, we set up phases where we would do Zoom classes. We have lent out most all of our equipment to our members, so we have been able to program workouts where they don't need any equipment, or you can do workouts where they can utilize the equipment they borrowed from us. So our community has been pretty wonderful to us. We have definitely taken a loss. You know, people have lost their jobs, so we have been affected by that. But for the most part, we have a really great community that is standing by us, and really excited for us to open.
I'm excited that you're sharing equipment with your members. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, fitness equipment is fine these days, so our members were pretty excited to get our equipment.
I bet. So starting with Representative Osborne, tell us how you're planning for safety. How would you reopen? How are you looking at managing your staff? How have you been communicating with your staff? And what are some of the protocols that you're considering so people will feel safe returning to your business?
Thank you for that question. And even though we've been closed for almost a month now, my staff, we continually have Zoom meetings. They're still given homework to learn more about, you know, the industry as they're at home. So, you know, we've been talking a great deal. But for the last about, I'd say 2.5 weeks, we've been looking at what does, you know, that reopening look like, and what can we put in place. And, you know, for us, consumer confidence is going to be extremely important, because I could say, hey, I'm open, and to many people walking up to the door, they're going to want to see that I'm thinking of them, that I'm thinking of them of being safe and secure, that I'm thinking of my employees, are they safe and secure? And so as we've been going forward, it starts at the front door. And we kind of jokingly said, we need to have a doorman, because that doorman needs to be kind of counting about how many people are coming in, Are they directing them to certain areas of the store? And I jokingly, being the jewelry store, said, well, maybe we could even get a doorman's jacket for this person, you know, just kind of have fun with it. But you know, many people wear masks. Well, the last couple of days, we've been making face shields. And, you know, the one thing about the masks that everybody's been wearing, you just can't see the happiness. You can't see the emotion and the expression. And so with the face shields, it's like, hey, here I am. You can see my smile. And yet we're still protected. And so those are some of the things we are looking at. We have been discussing about, you know, where in our store can we have direction of traffic for the cash register areas, where are heavy inventory items that are for sale, especially, like I said, for Mother's Day. Pandora is a huge section of our corner in our store. Well, you know what, we need to spread that out so not everybody's all going to that one area. As for innovation, looking at things, like I said, safety in the jewelry industry is important, just, you know, in the ugly way. And so, but we had talked about putting baskets together of different jewelry things that we can put out on social media, try to have a quick run in and purchase that basket and be able to get back out. You know, that ingress egress is important. Wiping down your Visa machines, not spraying them, because we've heard that the spray can gunk up the buttons of your Visa tab buttons. Having hand sanitizers right there at the doorway as you're coming in, going out. But for jewelry, things that we've also said, we do a lot of repair, and people bringing in their jewelry, well, you got to figure it's coming right off their body. And our employees wearing gloves, having a tray where the people drop off their jewelry, the employee with their gloved hand picks it up. We're going to have a bowl of alcohol right there, not the drinkable kind, Cintra, but the bowl of alcohol. That we dip the jewelry in and be able to take it in. So, you know, a disinfectant kind of safety there. As for watches, which obviously we're not going to dip in anything, having alcohol wipes, keeping my watchmakers safe by being able to wipe down a watch band and stuff. Jewelry is not a clean entity, let me tell you. And so making sure that we're doing what we can to disinfect, cleaning up after people, having all that in place is kind of how we're going. About 2 weeks ago, you can see it on LinkedIn. I did a video for retailers talking about what are you doing to prepare yourself to open. But then I also had about a 20-point plan of things to think about on the safety aspects too. So, you know, we really have been putting a lot into it. Right now, it's kind of trying to find all that hand sanitizer, all that alcohol, all those Clorox wipes, all the things we want to have. You know, those are hard to come by. So my 20 employees, we're having a scavenger hunt to go look for all those things. So that's kind of what we're beginning right now.
Great. So Tom, Mountainside Fitness, that's a pretty big facility with a lot of folks coming in and out. Wow, I don't even know. So how are you going to manage this?
Yeah, I think that's you know, we have over 105,000 people, members, and it's interesting because it comes in different forms. You have the members that come out just to work in the strength area. You have some that certainly like the cardiovascular area, and then you have the group fitness rooms, and then finally the child care. So it's kind of one of those things: is how do we separate? How do we function going forward? And this is kind of what our plan is going to be, starting with taking down every other piece of cardio. So we'll unplug every other piece of cardio. So you're about 6-7 feet apart in between cardio pieces. That's the one place you're definitely going to be stagnant in the facility for a little bit if you're using it. So we're going to be doing that. Spacing out the equipment a little bit more, but for the most part in our health clubs, the equipment's pretty spaced out, and that's going to be a social choice in there, just how you move around. It's kind of like a grocery store, how you want to function inside that. Then the group fitness classes, we're going to be doing the same thing. So we'll create the distance mandates in each room. For example, if we have 30 bikes in the cycle room, we'll cut them down to about 15 or 16 bikes to create the space. In our big group X room, we'll have dots on the floor to where you can be located. and then you'll just stand on those dots. So that'll cut the room basically in half and create social distancing. Same thing will happen in yoga. In our group fitness classes, you will sign up online 12 hours before to secure your spot. That's not a normal practice for us. It's something you would see in a studio, but for us, with the amount of traffic, that's going to be a little bit new, but we are going to implement that when we open. And then lastly, childcare. We're going to keep the childcare open in normal capacity. However, we're going to check the temperature of every child as they come in, and just to regulate that. And then as well as all employees will have their temperature checked when they come on duty, and then they will be required to wash hands at the beginning of the shift and 2 times during their shift. There won't be any touching of keys. I think we were talking about that earlier. The sign-in tags will be, I would say, hands-free. You'll just come in. We'll have one of our staff members at the front counter to greet you, but we'll and verify the information on the screen. But we will not be taking the key tag from you. You'll scan it yourself, and that'll go the same thing when we sell a smoothie or something, putting in a credit card. We were lucky, and we had such a great relationship with Waxy to secure a lot of hand sanitizers and wipes that'll keep us kind of flowing forward, certainly in this capacity for the next 90 days, which is something that we hope will change at some point, and to go to normal full operation. So I think for us, that's kind of the initial protocols that we're going to have. You'll see signage. We'll be able to notify all the members of what those protocols will be in there. And then some of them are just going to be on the members to make sure they're making wise decisions as they flow through the facility.
Sure. That absolutely makes sense. So CrossFit, you have less challenges in terms of the numbers of folks that you're able to bring into your facility. So tell us how you're going to manage through that.
Well, the first thing we're going to do is have everybody comes in, 10 people at a time. They will have their temperature checked at the door on coming in. They will come to 10 stations into our gym with all the equipment out. There will be a clipboard. They will sign in on that clipboard at what station they are in. They will clean the station down with wipes beforehand, and then after the workout will be shortened to 45 minutes of class. That'll give me probably about 45 minutes to clean up the stations, clean up the bathroom, clean up the front door, the entryway, just being real thorough on the cleaning aspect of it.
You know, we run in pretty much hour increments of classes back to back. So our plan was to shorten our classes and space out our classes initially, so that gives us time to clean all the equipment, clean anything anyone could have touched, the front doors. We don't really have very many employees. We are a true mom and pop operation here. So we definitely want to keep, our family safe along with our members also. So we feel like creating stations with cleaning equipment there also. So people pretty much come into their station. They don't really need to leave, obviously, unless they need to go to the bathroom or something like that. So we kind of think that creating these parameters will hopefully keep everyone safe.
Great, thank you. So there's so much information that we're sharing this morning that we are going to be running up against the clock a little bit. So I'm going to combine the last 2 questions for each of you. So in terms of consumer confidence, we kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, is how have you maintained communication with your customers, letting them know what types of safety measures you have in place for them, and then finally, wrapping it together, what do you need from us? How can we help you? How can your chambers help you? Your fellow business members that are on this call? We're all, like Christina started saying, we're all a big community right now. So how can we help you with that message, with your message? So starting off with Representative Osborne.
Hi, thank you. And oh goodness. So let me start first of all by saying we have been trying to contact our customers by whether we've given them phone calls or sent out, you know, just personal cards of saying we're thinking of you, looking forward to see you in the future, and just trying to keep that social media presence. For me, I'm always almost daily putting out something to laugh about, some kind of meme, because, you know, I think that humor side of us, that light side of life, continues to be something that we need to have. And whether it's a prayer or it's humor, it's something to keep us going. But one of the things I forgot to mention as we go forward is that for our people that are 65 years and older, or maybe somebody that has some kind of health concern, we are going to be doing appointments, you know, like the hour earlier than our usual hour timeframes, because or hours of operation. So that way we can, you know, bring in some people that will feel more comfortable with, you know, really we're still closed, but giving them that opportunity to meet with us one-on-one. And also, as you mentioned with Christina, I am so proud of our hospital. I have to give Abrazo, and I will say I'm one of the board of directors, but what the hospitals have been doing, what our medical personnel have all been doing, I'm so proud of them and what's been going on. As a business person going forward, you know, I'm excited, I'm optimistic. I know things are going to be a little different, and we're going to be putting things in place to make everybody feel well. And I'm sorry, Cynthia, you asked at the very end, what was the final question?
What do you need from us? What do you need from your community, from your chamber to help you as you reopen?
I think that, you know, that marketing and that advertisement of our people are ready to go. You know, small businesses, you know your industry, you are putting things in place per your type of industry, and you are the best to do that. But we need the support and the help of the chambers of commerce, of different entities like that, reminding everyone the small business has been there for your community. They're the backbone of your community, and they need you now. And, you know, highlighting different things that, you know, just around the different cities, around the different industries. This is what they're doing to keep you safe, to make things fun again, and just continuing to put out that message is going to be very, very important.
Great, thank you. I know that you have to head off to the governor's office, and I'm sure that you'll share a lot of this great information and let them know that the West Valley is ready and we're prepared.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody.
All right, thanks. Representative Espinoza, tell us about, you know, what do you need? What are you doing? How are you communicating with your customers? I know that you've got a lot of ongoing activity on your property, so that's pretty awesome. But what do you need from us? How can we help you spread the word? See, we gave him all the information. He's good to go. I think we might have...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Sorry.
Yeah, hear you.
My mute button. I want to share with you, thank you once again for the opportunity. But you know, you're doing a phenomenal job, and what you're doing today is just the start of many great things that will start evolving. But you know, as Westmark and as business leaders, I think we need to be speaking to our elected officials about how we are going to support small businesses. Is that via loan programs, grants, business leads, especially to the mom and pops that are really crucial to our small communities.
Mm-hmm.
I can share with you, you know, my Litchfield Park CrossFit. I'm a member there, and they are the cleanest and the best results gym that you can find in the West Valley. So for myself, and as an elected official as well as a business owner, and speaking to business owners across this great state of ours, is how are they going to get through these rough times? And it's going to be incumbent upon ourselves to ensure that we can identify those areas of opportunity along with you all to ensure that we can pass that information on and have some successful results to get these individuals back on their feet and moving in a positive direction.
Great, thank you. Thanks for participating this morning. So Tom, you gave us a lot of great information. I'm a gym junkie, and I have 2 memberships. I belong to a large gym like yours, and I belong to a boutique gym like like CrossFit. And so tell us, you know, what are you doing to instill consumer confidence? How are you getting, you had some great practices. How are you getting that word out to your membership base, and how can we help you with that?
Well, I appreciate that question too, and help. We'll take whatever we can get. I think the first thing we did is we initiated, we went live with an electrostatic kind of cleaning, where we actually brought in a gentleman in a hazmat suit, and he blew. It was a very unique agent to clean the facility. So we videotaped him doing that, and he's gone to every facility. It's what you would do in a hospital. We've done in the airports, very high level, and we wanted to make sure that was to the public as we closed, what we were doing while we were closed. We've given some updates as to why we're closed, but we haven't had a lot of information to open. Other than now, we have our protocols in place. So we'll communicate that out to the members via, we do email and text blast to be able to communicate, and then we'll put it on our website, and you'll see social media outlets as well as we get information. In the meantime, doing stuff to help, whether it's donating. Now we're with patients, you can do antibody testing, locations, parking lot, if you register online. We're trying to stay active in anything we can do to help as we prepare to open, and then making sure we communicate that all either directly through email, a text message, or through social media and our website. We'll keep that plan going forward. It's a lot of people to communicate to, so hopefully they hear it, see it, feel it. But any help we'll take.
We'll give it to you.
Thanks, Nat.
So, Aaron and Stephanie, what do you have? What can we help you with?
You know, I think I would touch on kind of what everyone has said. I think because we are such a small community, our members really know the importance of supporting small businesses. We are a small community, and we've been in contact with all of our members constantly. You know, because we are in the West Valley, we see our members around town. When we're on bike rides with our families, we see them. So we've been in constant communication with them. We are on Facebook Live with them, or we're on Zoom with them. We just recently sent a survey to our members, seeing if they're comfortable coming back or if they have concerns. We got a great amount of feedback, with a lot of people being very comfortable and with people with concerns. We recently sent an email, you know, kind of outlining what we plan to do if we are to open, you know, May 1st, with all of our practices, all of our procedures, not allowing drop-in only members, things like that. But I think that we've had great response from our members, and with CrossFit being such a personal community, you know, our members are like our family. They know everything about us. You know, they know our children. So they know how important it is to support small businesses. But we just need other people to know that, you know, because people that come to CrossFit gyms, they are different. So we're hoping we can definitely, you know, once we reopen, we can regain some of the members that we lost and continue to build on that.
Great, thank you. We'll certainly get that word out. So we've got time for a couple of poll questions that Christina will put up there. Based on what you just heard, how comfortable, this is to the audience, how comfortable will you feel patronizing these and similar businesses when they reopen? Do we have some results, Christina? Ah, that's great. So 86%, based on what they heard, feels that they would feel comfortable. So that's awesome. 14%, I think we still have some work to do. Still feel that they're not sure yet. And then the last poll question that I have for you all is, is your company currently having conversations about protocols for reopening? What did we learn, Christina? Oh, that's awesome. So 95% of companies out there are already talking to their employees and their customer base on how to reopen. That's really cool. I know that we're right at 11 o'clock, but do we have any questions in the chat box for anyone? Christina?
We do have a couple. There's one for Tom on how they are managing the locker room, new policies, etc.
Great question. Well, we've added a couple things. We'll be adding more wipes in the locker rooms and creating a greater tour capacity for our employees, meaning they'll be walking in and out of there, making sure it's wiped down as much as we can. That's going to be one of the difficulties with our business, is the amount of traffic and be able to function in that. But you're going to see more wipes and more hand sanitizers in the locker rooms. We've increased the temperature of our towels. We do provide free towels, so we're going to increase the temperature of that just to make sure. I mean, they're going to be really scalding hot when they're washed. And then really just trying to maintain order in there and just make sure it's clean, picked up, wiped down. Members will see that happening on a regular basis. Just kind of work it day by day as we move forward through this.
Great.
There's one for the CrossFit gym just asking when they plan on opening, which I think they already kind of touched on, but people are excited for that, I guess.
They are. We plan on opening May 4th is what we're hoping for, the first Monday.
Perfect. And then the last question that came in is kind of general, which I don't know if we can really answer this one per se, but maybe you could touch on it with your businesses specifically. But it says, what amount of the workforce is returning when we reopen? So maybe what percentage of your staff and team are returning when you open?
Well, for us, I think for Mountainside, we have just under 1,500 employees, and it's my intention to bring everybody back together. The interesting thing is not everybody will be utilized, from group instructors to some of the staffing that we had even in childcare to its full capacity. What we'll do with that is shift them in the short term cleaning duties and just rotate that off through the club. So we'll have plenty of cleaning capacity during the day when we're open, and we're just going to bring everybody back. That's just one of the things I promised everybody, and we're going to do.
That's awesome. Great.
Hey, Centra?
Yes.
Real quick, not only at CrossFit do you get trained, but your hair grows really fast. Look at Aaron's hair, how quickly his hair grows. That's amazing. I'm going to send my colleague, Clint Hickman, on the County Board of Supervisors to see both you, Tom, and Aaron. He needs the expert.
Aaron seed long hair.
I'm jealous, by the way.
Yeah, I'm ready for a reopening. I'm ready to get my hair done like everyone else out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's keep our fingers that Governor Ducey makes an announcement today. I think we're all expecting that. We've been communicating with the office almost daily right now, especially Sandra Watson. So I think, let's keep our fingers we get an announcement so that we can all, start to roll.
Great. So I thank all of you for this time this morning. Again, I think these are the key things that we're looking at. We want to get back. I think everyone's, ready to get back to work, ready to get back to restaurants and certainly working out for sure. And so I really appreciate a lot of the safety tips. Tom, like I mentioned, I belong to a larger gym. So I was writing all of these things down also to make sure, that we have these. And just again, I know Supervisor Chookery, you switched around your schedule. So I thank not only you, but Clint Hickman for that, because I'm sure he had something to do with that. So again, thanks a lot. Thanks to the audience for being here. We've had several webinars over the last several weeks, but this has been the most most highly attended one and visibly attended one that we received coverage for in the Phoenix Business Journal. So I thank those folks there too. So with that, I will let you all have the rest of your morning to yourselves, and thanks again.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Take care.